An interesting thing has happened since I put out this report. Of course, a lot of other media sources confirmed it, and that's all well and good, and they did it right. They credited this. I mean, I have no beefs, but a lot of what was said and reported was actually incorrect. But by the time that news came out, a lot of people said, well, they're working on it, but there are no contracts verbally agreed. I can assure you that the contracts had already been issued. Not signed, but anyone who told you that there were no contracts issued, thus making it a little less of a real thing, that was inaccurate. Fine, no problem. And then you see, obviously, a lot of people trying to campaign for Frankie Edgar. And I said on this show, after UFC 196, that that's the fight that I want to see at 200. McGregor-Edgar. McGregor should defend his title, and it should be against Frankie Edgar and not Jose Aldo. So you see some people trying to convince the UFC otherwise. As we sit here today, I'll just come out and say it. That's still the plan. Now, contracts are already out there, and that's what they want. And make no mistake about it, the reason why this is happening at 170 pounds is because, to be frank, Conor McGregor is a bit of a wild man. He is obsessed with the idea that he lost to Nate Diaz at 170 pounds. He feels like he should have won. And he wants the same circumstances, the same rules, the same stipulations. He wants to do it again, and he wants to prove that he's the better man. Now, the trickle-down effect is, how does this affect 145? Frankie, Jose, should he be defending? There's a lot to unpack here, and we'll get to all of that. But as we sit here today, that's still the plan. So if you're hoping for otherwise, at least now, hey, go ahead and campaign, do what you got to do. But I'm not in the business, and I feel like I have to come out and say this, and I don't want to go on a rant right off the top, but I'm not in the business of reporting rumors, and I see some other people, even some colleagues saying, well, yeah, it's going to be at 155, or I see some other people saying like, oh, this is unconfirmed. Trust me, I hope by now the track record speaks for itself. When I say in the works, when I say targeted, the only reason why I don't say official is because I have enough respect for the UFC and its brass to say, all right, it's official only when they say it's official. But I mean, this is the plan, my friends. This is the plan. I'm not just throwing out a conversation that was happened. I'm not just throwing out a pie-in-the-sky idea. This is what they want. All parties involved. You think Nate Diaz doesn't want that payday again? It's going to be better than the first one. And Conor wants to run it back, and the UFC wants to make money, and they believe that the most money to be made is with this fight as the main event of UFC 200. It has not been officially announced just yet, so anything can happen, of course. And one would think it would happen this week as far as the official announcement is concerned. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do it and when they do it. But this is it, my friends. And I saw a lot of people also saying, last point, oh, you had a premonition. That's why you were talking about it? Of course I did. Of course I knew they were talking about this. This idea is so crazy, especially that it's not happening at 155, that there's no way I could take credit for this idea, this option. Of course I knew they were talking about it. That's my job. My job is not throw out crazy ideas just for the heck of it. You make educated guesses when you need to, and then you report facts when they are actual facts. But of course I had an idea. I cannot take credit for this because I never thought it was going to happen. There's something to be said for saying, let's do it again, like the old playground days. I want another crack at this guy. I get it. I understand why he's operating this way. Remember, the Joe Duffy fight has sort of eaten him up inside for years. I get it. Now, that doesn't say it's the right move for him in his career. It doesn't say it's the right move for the featherweights, all that. But I get it. I can't take credit for it, though. I wasn't guessing there. Trust me.